What is it actually like to work at Connells as a mortgage advisor? It's a question, honestly, I never thought I'd have to make a video about until somebody asked me in the comments. And once that person asked, lots and lots of other people started asking too. So in this one, I'm going to give you the full story. Well, my full story, the good, the bad, and the honest reality of what it was really like for me starting out as a trainee advisor at Connells, from the interview to the first commission check and everything in between. Now, just to be really, really clear, this is not an advert for Connells at all, and it's definitely not a rant either, okay? It is simply my experience. Connells is a massive company, so different people will have very different journeys, but this is what it looked like for me personally. So I'm going to break it down into a few key parts. We're going to look at the interview process and what they actually looked for, the training and qualification route, how long it took to earn money and actually get signed off, what the commission structure looked like, and finally, whether I'd recommend starting your career there today. So the first thing is talking about the interview. So Connells tend to advertise roles directly, not through recruiters. You don't actually need your CMAP qualifications. When you apply, they'll put you through it themselves. What they're actually really looking for is drive, energy, and a background in sales. If you come from a estate agency, retail, or any customer-facing environment where you've had to hit targets, you're already ticking the right boxes what they're looking for. Now for me, I'd already been an estate agent for Connells before I moved into mortgages. Now that helped me massively because I understood how the property side worked and how advisors fit into the world of how they work. But be warned, because Connells is incredibly sales driven. So if you're looking for work-life balance straight out of the gate, it's probably not the right environment, to be completely honest. But if you are hungry to learn, it's a brilliant place to build those foundations. The second part is the training process. And honestly, the training was exceptional. And I'm not just saying that because my dad actually was the head of training at the company at the time. The actual structure was solid. You'd go through a proper new entrant program, part shadowing, part classroom based. They'd fund your qualifications, pay for hotels, travel, even meals during the study weeks. So back then what you do is you'd sit a CF1 and CF6 exam through the CII, which is the equivalent of a CMAP 123 exam. So it's the same thing. You'd have an intensive study week, you'd sit the exam on the Friday, then move straight into the next module. And once you're qualified, you then spend about 3 weeks on an intensive skills course, role-playing real scenarios, learning how to source cases, and writing mock applications until you could do them in your sleep. And all in all, from day one to writing your first real mortgage case, it took me about 6 months. So the number 3 is getting money and getting CAST, which is competent advisor status. It's basically your license to operate unsupervised. And Connells, they called it RMA, which I think was registered mortgage advisor. Now to get it, you had to submit a series of cases that were marked as suitable by compliance. Now it sounds simple, but honestly it took time. It usually took me and most other advisors about 6 months to get fully signed off. During that time, I was on a basic salary with a guaranteed commission uplift. Now think of that as like a safety net while you're learning, but it also locked me into a 2-year commitment. So if I left early, I'd have to pay it back. I actually went back there and worked there for a few months a second time, and I did leave, and yes, I did have to pay it back, just so you know. So the fourth thing is commission and pay. And this is where people will get real curious and want to know. So let's be really honest with it. When I started, my basic salary was around £18,000 with about 10% commission on banked income. Once I qualified though, that commission went up to about 15% and I had a car allowance and performance bonuses. So for a trainee, earning potential is probably going to be 30 to 40,000 in the first year. I'd say that's probably realistic. Now, if you're good though, 60 to 80 was achievable after that kind of first year. Now the structure rewards performance, but it is very corporate. So it's never going to match the earning potential of being a self-employed broker at all. But that said, my experience and training easily made up for it early on. So the fifth thing is the reality of actually working there. So the culture is fast-paced, it's demanding, sometimes it's even toxic. And you'll work weekends, long hours, and constantly be balancing estate agency leads, remortgages, and admin. And you'll learn everything you need to know about the job. You'll see the good habits and the bad ones, and you'll understand the pressure of sales targets and the importance of process. I always say that Connells produces some of the best self-employed advisors that I've ever coached, because once they've learned to handle that kind of structure and volume, you can really handle anything. You just need to be taught it. So the big question here is, would I work for Connells again? And honestly, yeah, I probably would. They're very corporate. They're very tough. They can be a bit toxic. But if you wanted to learn the trade properly before going self-employed and build that foundation, it's absolutely phenomenal. The key is to go in with the right mindset, okay? Use them as a training ground. Absorb everything you can and then decide where you want to go with your career next. That's what I would probably say. And if you're wondering what the next step in your career actually looks like, then this video is one you should watch, which is about mortgage brokers versus financial advisors and what the actual difference is. And that's where I'll break down exactly how these two careers compare and what each role involves and how to decide which one suits you best. Go on, give it a click and keep watching.